Chris Farfoy.
Thank you very much, Mr Speaker. I'd like to begin my general debate speech by thanking someone, and that is the Honourable Bill English, because I'd like to thank him for writing the latest chapter in the three-part saga of National called Arrogance and Out of Touch.
That's right.
Because we now know from the comments that I'd like to thank Ian Lees-Galloway from Mr English, that he made at the Fielding Federated Farmers meeting last Friday, what National really thinks about New Zealanders. Usually we get positive comments from the government about we're backing New Zealanders, we back them, we don't care what the Labour Party says, we back New Zealanders to do the best that they can possibly be. But when they're behind the closed doors, talking to their mates, Bill English, and he's got form about getting caught telling what he really thinks about New Zealanders, we find out what the National Party really thinks about New Zealanders. Because what did Mr English say about young males to the Federated Farmers and Fielding last Friday? He said they were pretty damned hopeless. And he said, well, we need to have a little bit more immigration at the moment because Kiwis in general, so not just males, are pretty damned hopeless. So that's what the National Party thinks behind closed doors. Where the camera's out and the microphones are out, we're backing New Zealanders so they can do the best for New Zealand. But when they go to their caucus room and they have their little party meetings around New Zealand, they think New Zealanders are pretty damn hopeless. Well, I've got some news for the Minister of Finance. I think it's for 15 to 19-year-old for males. What's the unemployment rate? 23%. The unemployment rate for young males 20 to 24 is 9.3%. What's our national average? 5.3%. So it's our young males more than anyone who are struggling to find jobs. And what's the message that we get from this arrogant and out-of-touch government? It's that they're pretty damn hopeless. Well, if those people out there can hear the message that this government has got for them, well, they will find out that this government has been pretty damn hopeless at getting them the job opportunities that they need. So it's not a government that's working for those pretty damn hopeless males out there. If they did their job and weren't so damn hopeless, those people would have jobs, they'd have the education to make sure they could get the jobs that New Zealanders need. And that's the kind of arrogant and out-of-touch government that we have got when they talk behind closed doors of New Zealanders who may have voted for them but will seriously reconsider their vote now. They already think that those young men out there are pretty damn hopeless. Those are the kinds of people that I've got in my electorate who are desperate to find a job.
That's right.
And they have not, and yes, in one respect, they haven't got any hope. They're not hopeless. They don't have any hope in this government to do a decent enough job to get them a job. So that's what this government really thinks about New Zealanders. And I'd like to know what else they're saying behind closed doors about other sections of New Zealand, because we've now found what Bill English really thinks of young males in New Zealand. He got caught out telling what he really thinks about New Zealanders. So there's one story in front of a camera and in front of a microphone, and another story when they're talking to their mates. So this is an arrogant and out-of-touch government, and that is a latest chapter in a very long saga. And we get another arrogant episode this week when this Prime Minister says he won't release his tax records. And I will put my leader's credibility over your over the credibility of your Prime Minister every day, because that is a Prime Minister who's got a loose relationship with the truth. Let's hear what he said about his Transrail shares back in 2008 when asked. How many shares exactly did you and your family have in Transrail? John Key, 50,000 at the maximum, sometimes 20,000, sometimes 50,000. But did you personally buy 50,000 Transrail shares in 2003 and sell them off? Maybe 100,000. From memory, 50,000, sometimes 100,000. Yeah. Is it an issue that you should be clear about? It's 100,000 in total. That is our Prime Minister talking about his own personal affairs and his shares. Within the space of 30 seconds, he went from one story to another. That is and I think we're going to see that with the Prime Minister around his affairs with the trusts issues at the moment. Why won't he front up and tell the people of New Zealand, like our leader has, all the details around his tax? Why isn't he manning up, as those people over there have said, and tell us the story with his own tax details? Why won't he? Because we know that in the past he's got form. That's right. What was the line when the GCSB legislation was going through?
Nothing to fear.
Nothing to hide, nothing to fear. So it's a very simple request to the Prime Minister. If you've got nothing to hide, show us your tax details.